Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm keeping covered up. It's getting too much liquor in the system right now, I think. They partied way too hard. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and now emotions are running high. I mean, there's people scattering now. I don't know what's going on. What's happening?
Wait, the autonomous zone? There was shootings? You should call some... Oh, yeah. You got rid of them. And they couldn't get in. One died, a couple injured. Good times. The more I watch it, the more I realize that the protests have nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. It's nothing to do with George Floyd. It's a reason to protest, but it's not what it's about. You watch them. You know what this is? This is a protest about becoming an adult, about growing up. You've handed people this sense of entitlement because you told Johnny and Sally or whoever they identify as at that point in time, hey, guess what? You're great. You're amazing. You're incredible. Be anything you want. You not only can you be anything you want, you deserve to be anything you want. Your D's and C's are going on the refrigerator. Your painting is better than Picasso. Here's a trophy for just being. Oh. Well, what? Yeah. Here, congratulations. It's a trophy for just being. It's a trophy for just being you. I don't want to grow up. They'll hijack anything if they think they don't have to do anything. It's a great opportunity to hang around, get a little drunk, party all day with your friends, have zero responsibilities, bitch about the world today, and all the while that's going on, you're Instagramming it, you're Facebooking it, you're Snapchatting it, you're texting your friends on your iPhone that mom and dad pay for. Bunch of spoiled little kids. It's exactly what it is. And guess what, Mayor? You can say this.
The message is being delivered right now on Capitol Hill is it's time for people to go home.
You, Jack the Pooch, you had the opportunity, right? You told your people. You said, Chief Best, you need to get out. Take your people and get out. Somebody gave them the key. They can go on in. They can bitch, whine, and moan and scream and yell and, oh, capitalism's evil. People are bad. We got it going on. This is what life should be. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Period. Case closed. So how exactly are you going to get them out? Is it the police?
It would not be an effective strategy to simply send police in to try to clear the area. And so instead what we're doing is we're working with Black-led organizations and some of our partners in de-escalation.
No, what you need is mom and dad to come down and get most of them out of there. That's what you need. Mom and dad to come down and go, Johnny, Jimmy, Sally, whoever you identify, it's time for you to get your butt home and get a job and get a responsibility. That's what it's time to do. Time for you to come home and get some responsibility and get out of our house while you're urban camping in the middle of a major city thinking you're doing something by hijacking somebody else's message because it's another way for you to have a week or two of not doing anything. Sorry. We're not going to send the police in. Who are you going to send in? Just curious. Who are you sending in? Even Black Lives Matter has criticized what's going on there because they're sitting around saying to themselves, they've hijacked this message. They've taken this message, and it's predominantly young, white, urbanite kids who've grown up with all the accoutrements of life, have all the good stuff that you always wanted, right? All that good stuff they wanted. Mom and dad paying to go to school, going to go out the college experience. I'm gonna go out there and I'm going to major in philosophy and interpretive dance. I'll never have to grow up. Settle down, Peter Pan. Somebody's paying those bills. So you're not going to send anybody in, Mayor Durkin. You're just going to hope that somebody goes in and goes, hey guys, can you leave? How do you think that's going to go? I don't think it's going to go very well. Enjoy it. Because everybody else is laughing at you, Seattle. This was last week. It's Ted Wheeler. He's the Portland mayor. Also hippy-dippy area, as we all know. Outskirts, kind of conservative. Inside, hippy-dippy.
I'm out here this morning because there were a lot of barricades set up. There is a lot of trash and litter and detritus left from last night's demonstrations, and this is where I'm living. These are my neighbors, and I'm out here helping to pick up the mess.
Would you ever let an autonomous zone be set up here in Portland?
I do not want an autonomous zone set up in Portland. I'm watching what's going on in Seattle, and I'm not impressed. It's a distraction from the larger movement, justice for black people.
You go ask any of those kids up there what they're protesting. They'll say George Floyd because it sounds good. But the reality is they're protesting growing up. They're protesting growing up. When you've got the mayor of Portland, also a pretty decent sized city in America, also known to be a little hippy dippy, a beautiful city that has been overrun by vagrants and wackadoos. A bunch of kids running around, also not wanting to grow up. When you've got that mayor saying, yeah, no.
What I'm hearing coming out of Seattle concerns me. Armed people walking around in the autonomous zone, people being asked to show their papers and demonstrate where they're from at the entrance to the autonomous zone, businesses potentially being shaken down to be allowed to operate within the autonomous zone. So if you're asking if that's something I support, let me be unequivocally clear. I absolutely do not support that.
Mayor right there of Portland say, yeah, no. That's what you get when you tell Johnny and Sally, right? Lucy and Timmy, you're the best. You deserve everything. It should come to you. Shouldn't have to work for it. Mom and dad will fight your battles. Everybody's right about everything. 2 + 2 is whatever you want it to be. Everything goes on their refrigerator door. Here's a trophy. This is what you get. Spoiled kids who don't want responsibility. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text the program as well. All that aside, nobody seems to be worried about the coronavirus there.
We are doing more testing, and that's part of the reason. But much of it is because we just have more infections. There's lots of other data we're looking at, including the fact that hospitalization rates are going up. More testing wouldn't explain more hospitalizations.
No, testing continuing to go up, but so is the fact that people are getting sick. Or at least testing. But you're finding hospitals becoming fuller. Question is this the first wave? Is this the second wave? Doesn't seem to be going anywhere. I was told, it's just me and everybody else, that's probably going to come in waves, right? Because we talked about the flu, the Spanish flu, which wasn't even Spanish. They just covered it. They're like, we'll give it to you. You guys can call it whatever you want. Well, we'll call it the Spanish flu. But the second wave was the most deadly. But there was a respite. We've not got the respite. We continue to just have this thing floating on through.
It is very much still the first wave. And, you know, for some states like New York and New Jersey that were hit hard, they're over that first wave. But for a large chunk of the country, they're really going through that first wave now.
Yeah, Dr. Ashish Jha right there talking about it. Cases going up. And then there's that big question. That other big question that's dangling out there as we start to figure out what exactly it is we're going to do. As some states really start to feel it. I'm out here. Trump will be out here tonight in Arizona. We have been, over the last 2-3 weeks, just slammed. 18 to 2,500 new cases a day. When you break it down, it's not a ton when you look at the population. We have 7 million people. In saying that, the hospitals are getting a little jam-packed. Some of that, as I was talking to a nurse friend of mine last week, she said, we're trying to make up two months of surgeries. So a lot of that is other things that the hospitals need to survive on. But you can't deny the fact that it's going up. And most of them are young people that are going to survive it. There are still older people that are getting it. But the reality is people are starting to ask the question about the second lockdown.
That's basically if you wait too long and once your hospitals start getting full, then you don't really have very many choices. So many of us have been calling for weeks to slow things down, to get rid of things like nightclubs and large indoor gatherings, to ask people to wear masks. All of that prevents lockdowns. But if we don't do those things, then yeah, at some point, we're going to find ourselves with no other choice but a lockdown.
Is that a possibility? Of course it's a possibility. Is that a reality? Probably not. Second lockdown would do to the economy 10 times what the first lockdown did. It would absolutely be devastating in a way that I don't think we put words to, because we're not feeling the effect. It's kind of a delayed effect, but we will feel it sooner. You look at new housing and you look at housing statistics over the last 6 weeks, they're tumbling. Rents are starting to go down. Those missed payments are now catching up to people. People are having to make serious decisions right this second about their car, about credit cards, about bankruptcies, about their businesses, and about their homes. That will start to catch up. Forbearance, the rent protection, that's all going away. And we're about 4.5, 5 weeks away from seeing that $600 of federal money potentially disappear. That's a weekly $600 for people on unemployment. What does that do? But a second shutdown? No. I could see how you could shut down nightclubs. I could see how you could shut down certain things, or at least try to. But a second full-on shutdown? No, not happening. You can't let 1 million plus people over 15 days march and then say, well, we're going to shut it down again. You lost the plot there. And I am totally fine with assemble. I am totally fine with protesting. I had zero problems with that. The way I looked at it is we should have protected the vulnerable, made people, give them the option. You want to wear masks? That's fine. This is what you're going to do. And everybody under 65 understand there's a risk that comes along with this. Be smart. But instead, most of the country got kind of gray area orders from their governors, and it was... And here we are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Thank Craig Collins filling in for me. It was enjoyable-ish. I had to fill out a questionnaire before I was allowed to come in the building. So you have to fill out this new questionnaire from SurveyMonkey about, like, where'd you go, what'd you do? And I'm like, is there just couch? Like, how far did you travel? I went from the couch to the kitchen to my bed, back to the couch. I went out back a couple times and into the garage to feed the lizards and play with them. Yeah, that was I went nowhere. It's like, so they contact me yesterday. They go, you can come in the building. You have a quote unquote less than 1% chance of being infected. I'm like, thanks. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter, Gabby, GABI.com/Benson. You're going to want to use that. Takes 2 minutes to do what you say. Well, first of all, Shop for Insurance takes all the pain out of shopping for insurance. You're going to get 40 of the best insurers, the top insurers, Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers, to help you compare prices on your homeowners and car insurance. All you have to do is link your current information. In about 2 minutes, you'll see quotes for the exact same coverage you currently have. I saved over $1,000 when it comes to my car insurance. I was spot on with my homeowners insurance. I can sleep well at night knowing that. On average, $825 per year is what Gabby customers save. They're never going to sell your info. No annoying spam or robocalls. Now is your chance. Start saving money today. Totally free. Take these 2 minutes. Go to Gabby.com/Benson, GABI.com/Benson, Gabby.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
President Trump says an attempt by protesters to take down a statue of Andrew Jackson in a park across from the White House Monday night was disgraceful. In a set of tweets, the president cites a 2003 law in warning that vandalism of statues on federal property could be punishable by arrest and up to 10 years in prison. Jackson is remembered in history for overseeing the forced removal of tens of thousands of Native Americans from their ancestral lands during the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Just to rewrite history. I tweeted something last night that is as real as it gets and scary. but it's very real, and it's from 1984. That was a book, George Orwell, for those of you guys don't know. And he said in 1980, every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten, every picture has been repainted, every statue and street building has been renamed, every date has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. Boom. True. Even I was telling the guys at break, Stevie Ray Vaughan. What did Stevie Ray Vaughan ever do? Well, they went and spray painted his statue. And I'm just like, you know what? It's just at some point in time, you just sit here and think this is what happens. Again, when you let everybody run wild and blame everything on somebody else, because mom and dad, and I'm not talking about Black Lives Matter. I'm talking about the majority of these protesters who are young, urbanite, white kids who will eventually move somewhere and gentrify a neighborhood when they grow up. You've told them their whole lives how special they are. Now they believe it to the point where they think they're invincible and that everything they do is right. And it's nuts. It's crazy. Welcome to the wacky world of this is what you wanted. So you have that going on last night. And right there, tearing down Andrew Jackson. I saw they got Ulysses S. Grant. We're going to go after Lincoln next. You just, you step back and you say to yourself, just whatever it is that you think this is going to fix, it isn't. And it takes away from having a conversation. Rather than erect something else next to those statues that tells a different story, but tells the whole story, you're going to step back and say, let's just we'll just tear this down, and that fixes everybody's problems. No, it's not. It's not going to. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Are we at the lowest part in human history when it comes to us here in America? Talk about it. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
All of NASCAR's drivers have rallied around Bubba Wallace after what happened here yesterday afternoon. A noose was found hanging in the garage stall of Bubba's race car. In the NASCAR Cup garage area, a secure area where access is limited to competitors, officials, and track staff. A despicable act by someone flying directly in the face of NASCAR's efforts to build a culture that is diverse, equal, and welcome.
Yeah. Awful, despicable, vile, absolutely. People are questioning it. I understand why. Bubba Wallace, NASCAR driver, happens to be a person of color. Somebody left the noose there. People are questioning that. There's a reason. Jesse Smollett and others have done things that really, well, they turned out not to be what they thought they were because they were activists. And they wanted to get a rise out of people and show everybody how evil America is and how bad it is for them. Do I think Bubba Wallace is any of these? I do not. Look, as far as I'm concerned, somebody did it. We'll find out. There's cameras everywhere. That's the reality of that. There's cameras everywhere. Everywhere. There's a camera. FBI, Department of Justice, they're involved. Last night, you watched any of even if you just saw the pictures of Bubba Wallace and all of the cars and the race car drivers and all of their crew behind him, it was amazing. NASCAR does have an issue. Let's not pretend that it doesn't. Not probably the most diverse of all of the sports. Hockey's more diverse than NASCAR. Soak that in for a second. What? Yeah. So, do I think that somebody did this? I'm going to believe him until we prove that somebody else did it as an inside job. An activist, if you will. The reality? NASCAR does have some issues. It's not just the flag. It's not. I've been to a few NASCAR events. They're interesting. I've been to all the major racing events in the world as far as things I've seen. I've been to NASCAR. I've been to CART, which is the Indianapolis 500, those kind of things. And I've also been to Formula One, which, by the way, if we're just going by the cool and the she, Formula One destroys it all. NASCAR is a trailer park with racing. CART's kind of like, oh, this is kind of neat. Formula One is like, it's like Harrods of London, Saks Fifth Avenue. It's awesome. NASCAR's got some issues. I think they'll deal with it. They've got an older fan base, very stuck in their ways. And it's not just with people of color or the Confederate flag, just a lot of things about NASCAR. It's interesting. But the reality is something happened. People are coming together. NASCAR needs the opportunity to show that they can be diverse, as all sports need to. Everything does. But it needs to be organic. Let's be real. We talked about this before. Organic works, forced doesn't.
For someone to get to see this or to hear this today after everything that's going on in our society, I think it's a great wake-up call for all of us to see that these things still exist, even though we talk about them and they're abhorrent and we're trying to get rid of them and push them aside. There's still always that element.
That's Brad Doherty, who, by the way, was the number one pick in the NBA. Played his entire career with the Cavaliers, 5-time All-Star, but loves NASCAR and has been a NASCAR owner for a long time, talking about coming together. And I think it was good. And here's the other thing. This is some of the other stuff that NASCAR has trouble with. A lot of these young drivers are more progressive, more woke, don't have the Southern accent, come from places like California. Pisses off some of the people in it. It's a very interesting way that this sport is coming about. But we'll see what takes place. Like I said, Department of Justice, FBI, hate crime, not hate crime. Was it an inside job? There's going to be cameras. We're going to find something out. But I think the way they came together, I thought was fantastic. Over the weekend, I watched a lot of soccer. Had some time off. The Premier League's back. Every single team on their jersey, the back of it, instead of their names, through yesterday, were Black Lives Matter. They all took a knee before the game. There was no incidents, no issues. -1 yesterday where somebody wrote White Lives Matter on a banner and then flew it over the Etihad Stadium, which I thought was just, again, it's stupid. It's a talking point. The world is paying attention. Now, what are you going to do with it? That's the big question. At the end of the day, what do you do with it? What do you do? And it's not just us. We're seeing this, but this is expanded to other places who are starting to go, oh, we've got our issues here that we need to deal with. France, obviously Germany. Oh, not again. Yeah. Right? The Dutch, the English, Italy, several places in Europe are now having to answer questions about their past as well. But with all of this, what do you do with it? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. According to 2 polls, 72% of people in this country believe this is the lowest point in our country's history. What? Yeah. The lowest point? What? Of course. It has to do with us. It's nowhere near the lowest point in our history. We had a civil war. Let's just go back to that. We had a civil war where brothers and fathers fought against each other. We had a civil war that tore our country apart. We had a civil war over slavery. Move a little bit further. We had the Great Depression where people were throwing themselves out of buildings. People were eating nothing. They were having a little bit of water and barely surviving. This is not the worst time in our history. This is a moment in time, in the best time to be alive. COVID-19 sucks. Let's go back to World War I, and the end of it, we had the great Spanish flu. Devastated the globe, including America, for a while. Wasn't an overnight thing. Then you had the Depression. Then we had World War II. You move through the 60s, right? Vietnam, we had Korea. Into the 70s. Nightmare that was. 80s were pretty decent. 90s, pretty good. Getting better. 2000's been great. We've got our issues with Afghanistan. What took place with 9/11. But the reality is, best time in history. But we're so narcissistic that we think this is the worst time ever because we're living it. Oh, my God, it's the worst time in history. Why? Because we're living it. Because I'm involved. So it must be the worst. If you could stand back for a second, you go, well, hold on a second. You have a cell phone that has more power in it than what we sent the guys to the moon on. You have air conditioning. You have a vehicle or a way to get around that is super easy. People bring food to your home. You have a billion things to watch. Opportunities abound. Yes, COVID-19 has been a pain in the ass, but the reality is, but we think this has to be the worst. Couldn't be any worse. You don't think it could be any worse? You don't think it's ever been worse? Nope. So when brother took on brother, father took on sons, when the nation split in two, and we fought hard as hell to not only defeat slavery, to abolish it, but also to try to hold our country together, that wasn't as bad as you being frustrated because you can't get your avocado toast? My God. This is what happens when you tell people in the instantaneous world of selfies. Has it ever been any worse? No. Yes, it's been a lot worse. It's been a lot worse. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from each and every one of you. I do. Let's talk about Boomer Naturals. Face coverings, they're not going anywhere, so why not have something that's comfortable and that works, that's effective? Boomer Naturals is a certification that you can get. So you can get a certification to prove how effective their face coverings are. And they're comfortable. Made from 3 layers of high-quality, hypoallergenic, 65% cotton, 35% polyester. It's a blended material treated with nanosilver technology, antibacterial and antiviral protection that lasts on the face covering, the mask, for 30 days. It's a 30-day, 30-use, less than 30 cents a day. You wash it, let it air dry, wear it the next day. Boom. It works. I wear mine when I have to. Right? It's a great thing. It's comfortable. They've got extra large, medium, small, and children's sizes. It's not one size fits all. That doesn't work. Save big right now. Go to boomernaturals.com. Use code CHAD20. You can get 20% savings right there, plus free shipping on all orders over $50. Boomernaturals.com. Promo code is CHAD20. Boomernaturals.com. Code CHAD20. Chad Benson Show.
Give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers.
One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
Brad Paisley will be crushing it at the Drive-In, one of the headliners of a series of drive-in concerts. From promoter Live Nation, Paisley will perform at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater in St. Louis, and concert goers will watch the stage from their cars with spots socially distanced. Darius Rucker, Nelly, and more will also hold similar events.
That's what everybody's doing, trying to make the best of it. Again, here's a perfect example, as we talk about, it's the worst time in history. Modern America is the worst time ever. Doing drive-in concerts. It's never been worse. It's never been worse. I mean, we think it could be worse, but it's never. Settle down. Not that I would go to any of these. Because I just don't do crowds. I don't. People ask me the other day, hey, when the movies come back, are you going to go? I said, yeah, probably. I'll go. Will you wear a mask? I said, I'm going to wait till they'll see what it looks like, because you don't have anything coming out for like 2 weeks. And you've got that Unhinged movie coming out, which looks really good with Russell Crowe. And it's just, it's very interesting because it's a regular guy who goes unhinged in traffic and then chases a woman and her kid. And you watch the trailer for it and you say, there's just something about, like, does everybody have that in them? And that 99.9% of people can check it? That's why we're always so curious about, why did the shooter do what the shooter did? We want to know the reason the shooter did what the shooter did, because we don't want to think that he was just having a bad day and that anybody could do that. We want a reason. Was it terrorism? Was he bullied? Was he this? Was he that? That's why Vegas has always perplexed us, frustrated us, because there's no, this is why he did what he did. We want to solve it. That's why Unhinged looks really cool. So it'll be very interesting to see that. But I want to see what the movie theaters are going to look like and how many of them are going to actually be open. And, you know, are they going to limit, like, are they going to have, so let's say it's 300 seats. Is it going to be 50, 100 people allowed in? How do they do that? I'm sure every, third or fourth seat will be roped off. But yeah, I would totally go see a movie. I would. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. That being said, baseball looks like it's come back, and not the way the players wanted it.
Major League Baseball imposed a 60-game regular season schedule, using its right to do so after players rejected the league's return to playoff. The players were seeking more games in the regular season. But now, in what will be baseball's shortest season since the 1870s, players will arrive for training in team cities by July 1st, and the season will begin around July 24th. All of that's contingent on the players agreeing to health and safety protocols amid the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah. Which they will poo-poo. It'll never be enough. The owners are fine with it. So they couldn't agree with something, and Rob Manfred, who is the commissioner of baseball, has the right to just override and say, this is what we're doing. You guys want 80. We offered, I thought they were going to get to like 70, but 60 is what it is. And the players still have a chance to say, nah. You guys aren't doing enough, so no. Will they? I don't care. I mean, you really care about baseball? Baseball, you had the opportunity. So think about this for a second. You had the opportunity where you could be kicking off your season in less than 2 weeks over the 4th of July weekend. You had the opportunity to do that. And instead, you guys have fought about money. You fought about money. You fought about money. And you have the opportunity to be in a situation where you were playing every day, giving fresh content every day, and having people captured to that content who want sports. Still no hockey. Still no basketball. Football is several weeks away before they even break camp. And you blew it. You had the chance, and you blew it. That's on you. At this point in time, I really don't care what you do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, feel free to tweet at me. You can, text the program. So I woke up this morning, I saw that Jimmey Kimmel was getting canceled, and this goes back to an album he did in 1996 with Kevin and Bean out of Los Angeles. And it's Christmas in the LBC, and of course, he's pretending to be Snoop Dogg. And, it's just what it is.
Bringing gifts for baby boo in the hay. Well, there was danger in the manger. Word, the evil king was on. They packed and got out fast. Yeah, little J was okay. So now my homie Dr. Dre and me, we celebrate that day. Christmas time in the LBC. A fat and a sleigh giving away.
Yeah, he dropped the M-bomb in there. And, of course, now he's being super canceled. 1996. Cancel culture. He's part of the cancel culture, and this is what happens in cancel culture. He got away with it. Some people thought with the way that he did Oprah on The Man Show and, of course, Karl Malone. And people are like, well, now you got to go. I just sit there and get frustrated and just roll my eyes. Why don't we ask Snoop Dogg? Snoop, do you think he should go? Frustrating. Cancel everybody. Joe Rogan was canceled last week because he laughed at something like 10 years ago. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We know that a lot of states opened up before the number of cases had really declined and opened up too quickly without good safeguards in. And so we are seeing the spike in cases. And it's worth remembering that we're still quite early in the pandemic. We have a long way to go, and we really have to put in the kind of measures that'll keep us safe over the next 12 or 18 months before the pandemic is over.
Dr. Shah, would you say we have a long way to go but a short time to get there? Would you say that? Let's watch all Smokey run. Dr. Ashish Jha, I probably screwed that up, so leave it alone. Talking about, we're still early in this pandemic, right? We're very early in the pandemic. But the reality is stuff's starting to happen.
We are doing more testing, and that's part of the reason. But much of it is because we just have more infections. There's lots of other data we're looking at, including the fact that hospitalization rates are going up. More testing wouldn't explain more hospitalizations.
Here's the way I look at the hospitalization / I want to see stuff that's real, that's tangible. Testing, you know what? You could have 1 million people test positive tomorrow, but if none of them go to the hospital, well, it doesn't matter. You could have 10 tests tomorrow, all 10 go to the hospital. That's far worse. What's the hospitalization rates? What does that look like? What's the bed capacity? So right now, is your capacity X, Y, and Z? Some states, their capacity's fine. Other states, it's getting a little cramped. Why is that? Is it because 80% of the people in that hospital that are in those beds are COVID patients? Or are you making up 3 months in some areas, 2 months in others, of not having elective surgeries, so you're doing as many as possible? And a majority of people that are taking up the beds are people that are there for other reasons than COVID. Those are tangible and real. Plus, the COVID side of things, just think about this for a second. You get paid more money for having a COVID patient. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. So you get paid more money to have a COVID patient. So why wouldn't you want a COVID patient? Even if they're there for something else, well, you tested positive, so we're going to put you down because you're an extra $600 a day. But I was here for a knee replacement. You'll be fine. But what are the real things? That's what matters. The real tangibles that we can look at, which is hospital beds and the lack of hospital beds, in particular ICUs, That's a very real thing that you look at and go, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. The reality of it is it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And the question that's out there that scares a lot of business owners, big and small, is could there be a second one?
That's basically if you wait too long and once your hospitals start getting full, then you don't really have very many choices. So many of us have been calling for weeks to slow things down, to get rid of things like nightclubs and large indoor gatherings, to ask people to wear masks. All of that prevents lockdowns. But if we don't do those things, then at some point, we're going to find ourselves with no other choice but a lockdown.
It's possible. It's possible we could be headed back there. I don't think we'll see a lockdown the way we saw it before. I think what we're going to see in the future is, because you're not going to get the genie back in the bottle, right? People are like, sorry. You know what? First of all, you've got Fauci, right? He's doing his hearings and whatnot today, and he's out there doing his stuff. You told everybody a week ago. Well, the whole thing at first is I told you guys not to wear a mask because we needed those PPEs for other people. So wait a minute. You told America not to wear a mask, and you're totally fine with the fact that you knew that was something that you should probably be doing. And you got the World Health Organization, who within 12 hours of saying, well, the mask doesn't really do anything, well, you should wear the mask. Wait, what? You've got anti-maskers and you've got pro-maskers. It's crazy. So all that being said, if there's going to be shutdowns, it'll be shutdowns in the line of certain industries will be told, hey, sorry, nightclub, you guys aren't following the rules, and to shut you down. They're going to start to limit in that direction. They're not going to shut things down because the genie's already out of the bottle. Try to put it back in. You can't. You can't because you've allowed people in the George Floyd incident that was horrific to do what they should be doing, which is protesting what was going on. You've allowed that to happen, as you should. It's the beauty of our country. In saying that, trying to tell people now, no, you can't do this. That's too much. It's too much. So where we go from here is going to be very interesting because we're still in the midst of the first wave. Is there going to be a second wave or is this going to be continuous? Are we not going to get a respite at all? I don't know, because I was told it was going to be seasonal by June, right? I'm not talking about Trump. In April, it's going to be gone. But by June, it was supposed to be pretty much disappearing. And then we were going to have a pretty calm July and August, September, start to look back to this is the potential. But I've heard 50,000 different things. You put 20 scientists and doctors in the room, you're going to get 20 different answers because this thing is so new and it's so novel. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Last night, going after that pesky Andrew Jackson.
Right now, I'm here at Black Lives Matter Plaza and 8th Street Northwest. There are protesters right here on the other side. That is the U.S. Park Police. I'm hearing that they want to gain access to the Andrew Jackson statue. Protesters have up their arms right now saying no justice, no peace. And over here, you have Metropolitan police officers with protective gear, batons, helmets, shields. And over there, that is the Andrew Jackson statue.
Yeah, so Andrew Jackson's a bad dude. Trail of Tears. Everybody's got to go. It's time to rewrite the history, as we're doing, which I don't think we should do. I don't think we should tear down history. I think we should tell the whole side of it. I think we tell the whole side of history. Too often now, what we're finding is we want to erase and we want to get rid of and want to tear down. And we don't even want to tell, like, okay, this is what it was all about. This is who this person was fighting. And this is who this person, these are why they're fighting. And these are the people that contributed. These are the people who stood up against. These are the people who we should be talking about. But no, it's tear things down. George Orwell hit it out of the park when he said in this book, this pesky book called 1984 that just keeps popping up day in and day out, talking about the potential of what can happen. Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. It's taken from 1984. Tearing it down. Let's not tear it down. Let's build something else up. Let's tell the entire story, not a portion of the story. Let's not live in today's woke sensibilities that we live in, realize that, yes, these men were flawed. Some of them were awful. Let's talk about the good and erect statues to those next to these to tell both sides of it. You're not even talking about, that's the funny thing. All the while they're tearing down, never once are they talking about putting back up. Never, ever are they talking about other things other than let's just tear it down and we'll let it go from there. Nope. They're just, let's tear it down. We'll go from there. Ulysses S. Grant, I know you fought on that side that won and you fought against it, but doesn't matter. Theodore Roosevelt, you got to go too, because your horse and you riding, you have an African American and a Native American side by side, but they're subservient to you because you're on top of a horse. You have to go. Everybody has to go. But that's the culture that we've allowed to. They're not interested in, by the way, in forgiveness. I saw Brett Weinstein was on with Rogan, and he says, and if you guys don't know who he is, he's a very interesting character. He was the professor at Evergreen College when they wanted all the white professors to leave. He's like, nope, I'm not going to. And eventually that caused hell, and, it cost him everything because he wouldn't bow down. And that's what they want. It's very Maoist. It's very Red Book, The Great Leap Forward. It's very scary. They're not interested in changing anything. The way that you would say, how do we move forward? How do we put things together? How do we right this ship? How do we move in a positive way? They're interested in about control and power and getting people to bow down. And that's ridiculous. And eventually what you're going to get is you're going to get a serious pushback. And it could get ugly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Rough Greens, my dog Doodle. Loves his rough greens. Doodle is playful. So I've talked about Doodle. I have all my animals. And rough greens is not dog food. You sprinkle it on dog food. Dog food's, a lot of it's that dry food. No matter how good you think it is and how expensive it is, even the wet food, it's meant to essentially sit on a shelf for years. So not a lot of living stuff going on in there. So we sprinkle this amazing stuff called rough greens on Doodle's food, and it's changed his life. He's 10 years younger. He's bouncy. He's happy. He's playful. And it's rough greens. They get a 14-day jump start. It only costs $14.95. Best thing you could ever do for your dog. Doodle had just the worst hips. You couldn't even get anywhere near his hips petting him, and he would turn around and snap at you. Now, he bounces, he runs, and you can pet him, and he's fine. 25 all-natural vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, powerful strains of probiotics, omega-3, 6, and 9, antioxidants. It's got it all, and it brings the food to life, and it's amazing. If you love your animals like I love mine, try it. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88. 14-day jumpstart, $14.95. That's ruffgreens.com/Chad or 833-MyDog88. Rough Greens. We make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look at what's trending on the old interwebs. Plenty of it. Google. Megan Fox is mad. She wants Jimmey Kimmel fired. Everybody does, right? That's just it. Everybody wants him gone. Everybody does. Andrew Jackson toppled his statue at Lafayette Square. Charlize Theron, why is she trending? Because she insisted she did not almost get married to Sean Penn. I have to be honest, as bad as Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow was, this would be the most insufferable of insufferable. It would be. Minecraft, another update. And an alleged ISIV operative apparently is complaining he has COVID-19, needs medical attention. Mel Gibson, why? Because he said something a while back to Winona Ryder about her friend who was gay, and he said something about AIDS, so we have to cancel that. So there's that. So let's get that. Black House Autonomous Zone. They're trying to set up an autonomous zone in front of the White House. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. And Novak Djokovic, arguably the best tennis player in the world, has tested positive for coronavirus, COVID. I think he's going to be okay. I do. I believe he'll be all right. He is the, fourth? You had Grigor Dimitrov, Bornan Koric, and Viktor Trotsky. Sounds like the entire Russian leadership outside of Putin have all tested positive. I don't think anything is going to happen to them. And it's what I want to see, because we haven't heard, we've heard a few athletes that have tested positive come out and talk about it, but very few. Remember when it first happened, you had, I think it was Enes Kanter and Mitchell in Utah, and he was the one who didn't believe it at first and started touching the microphones, and he tested positive, and several other Utah Jazz players tested positive, and they were mad at him. But never really heard, what happened. Was it the worst thing ever, and was it not? Because the growing numbers that we're seeing in the country right now is this 20 to 40 somethings who feel like, hey, you know what? I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to go out and do stuff. And I have zero problem with that. Here's my problem. My problem is understanding you're going to take the risk. Because I think if you're under the age of 65 and you're good health, it's totally fine. Take the risk. Can you be trusted to, if you catch it, or even if you're not going to catch it, you're not going to be around anybody, can you be trusted enough to not put other people in a situation where somebody they know or maybe somebody else is vulnerable and could catch this and die? That's the issue. That's the issue there. Many people, they can't be trusted. We want to be treated like adults, but do we act like adults all the time? No, we don't. It's personal responsibility. With all of this stuff when it comes to COVID, a lot of it's personal responsibility. And a lot of it has to do with trust of our government. The Swedes had the opportunity and they took to it. And looking at it now, originally was, oh, this is horrible, that's horrible. Now you start looking at it and go, well, kind of we're all doing the same thing now, so maybe they were right. But one thing they do is they have personal responsibility. And the second thing is they trust their government. And we don't trust our government. And at times, rightly so. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's interesting. People are like, do you follow the news? Because, I had a few days off. And I really didn't. I was like, I didn't follow that much of it. If I saw a headline, I may read some of it. Yesterday, I dove into some of it. I obviously wasn't, oblivious to anything, but I spent a lot of time doing nothing. Hanging out with the family. Jack was here, Father's Day, right? I didn't do a ton. I mean, I sat in the jacuzzi every day. That was like I don't know if that's news, but I did that. So there was that. I took several walks. I didn't even work out. Just giving my shoulder a break because I have a really bad pinched nerve. And I'm just like, I'm not going to hang out. And we played some video games. We watched several movies, hung out with the lizards. And I didn't really watch or cover any of it. And we're putting together the new studio because we're going to do a lot of YouTubing and Facebook Live stuff. So I goofed around on all the editing software, and we got a few cameras. But what I did do, though, was I watched the way that the Trump rally was handled. And it's funny. It's very interesting. Fox, MSNBC, CNN, and then you've got these little fringe. You got One American News, and then you've got Newsmax. And the way that they handled it was totally different. Was totally. So there was, 6,500 people there, give or take, at his Tulsa rally, even though 1 million people were supposed to show up. He's going to be out here in Arizona today, touting the wall, things of that nature. But MSNBC, and CNN, oh my God, then you get TikTokers, so you don't know what TikTok is, you're not woke, and you're not cool enough, and you got K-pop, so you got J-pop and K-pop, which is the pop music, Korea, Japan, but K-pop apparently, and the TikTokers all got together, and they scooped up a ton of tickets, and then they didn't go, supposedly. I'm sure some of that's true, but to watch it, as far as the way they battled, I didn't watch any of I could care less. I mean, the rally. Woo, look at me, it's great. Doesn't do anything for me. Does for him. That's great for some of his people. But he was pissed. But then you got the TV ratings.
The ratings on Saturday night for Fox were the highest ratings in the history of Fox News, which is, I guess, a long history.
So, was that true? Fox said it had 7.7 million viewers for the rally. That's what Fox says. Supposedly 4 million people watching online. That's pretty good. I mean, it is that time where, and let's be real, Biden, he's had a few of these get out and meet the people kind of thing, and, he's holding it in the closet or at a Denny's, and there's 8 people there, and 4 of them are there to get, hotcakes. Moons over Miami. So, you can't, and being in this business, you can't base that on how popular you are or you aren't. His numbers don't look great right now. Let's be real. But it doesn't mean that he's going to get blown out of the water. Case in point, Nate Silver.
Joe Biden leads by around 9 points in our national polling average, and that lead has been growing. Of course, national polls don't really matter, otherwise Hillary Clinton would have been president. But it's worth noting that such a large lead is unusual in politics these days. Clinton never led by more than about 7 points, for example, and at this point in the 2008 race, Barack Obama led John McCain by around 6 points. So Trump needs to make a comeback, and there is plenty of time for that, and maybe also get some help from the Electoral College.
Yeah, which there is some opportunity for him. There's absolutely some serious opportunity for him, but it's much different this time. Much different. Joe Biden is not Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was awful. She was an awful candidate. She was. By any accounts. I don't care who you are. She was an awful candidate. Had she been more personable, I think she would have won. But just everything about her was ugh. Are you human? You don't feel human. But Trump's got a serious fight. And you hear, well, this and you got that. And don't you worry. It's like, no, Trump's got some issues. He's got some serious issues. And if you don't see that, because you think it's going to be the same way, you're fooling yourself.
The race is a bit tighter in the Midwest. We have Biden up by a more modest 6 points in Wisconsin and 5 points in Pennsylvania. Biden also can't necessarily take Minnesota for granted. Trump nearly won it in 2016, and there's been no polling there since the protest began in the state. Biden is doing surprisingly well in Florida, ahead by 7 points. If Biden were to win Florida, then he'd only need one state from that Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin group. Or Biden could lose all of those Midwestern states, but win Arizona, where our average has him up by 4.
Yeah, Arizona, where I'm at, is now something that you would think never. Dead red state is now turning blue. Demographics? Yeah. Immigration's a big issue here. It's a huge issue here. And not the way that people think, yeah, everyone wants to build a wall. No. You've got a very young Latino population that is left. You've also got a very young group of people that go to college at ASU that's become one of the top schools in the country. I know, laugh, but that's the reality of it. And they don't leave. They're like, we like it here. Same thing for University of Arizona, or they want to be called U of Arizona now for some reason. I don't know. It's a stupid thing. It used to be U of A, but whatever. So that's big. And then you've got California next door, and you're seeing tons of people move here from California. So you're not changing people's minds who live here. You're just changing the demographics of who lives here, which now makes this very playable. Absolutely. I want to see what it's like today and then what it looks like tomorrow after he was out here, because in the middle of it, you never really get a sense. If that makes sense. Because they'll tell you it was 12,000 when really it was 2,000. Or they'll tell you it was 4,500 when really it was 9,000. You have to let the dust settle anymore because everybody's full of crap and they're painting the picture the way they want to paint it. But this is a state that is very much about free will, free choice, your guns, and your God, and all that stuff. This is what the state's about, and it's changing.
No, I don't buy that we're going to have exactly the same map as in 2016. Instead, Trump is kind of fighting a two-front war with problems in the Midwest on one hand and then Arizona and Florida on the other hand. I want to be really clear. Trump could absolutely win re-election, but he definitely has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, it's a different time. And Trump's got serious issues that he's got to face. But between now and November, God only knows what will happen. Because between now and November, he could sink even lower and get boat raced. That's a possibility. Between now and November, the economy could turn around. COVID, we could find a therapeutic and get to a point where we're nearing a vaccine. And that could be on his watch. Say what you want. That could be on his watch. And all of a sudden, it looks totally different. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Possibility? Absolutely. Anything's possible. But to watch this weekend, the way that these people cover things, it's like nobody gives you the truth. They give you the truth as they want to do it. They do. Brett Weinstein, who I enjoy watching, he was on with Joe Rogan. You don't know who he is. He was the former professor at a place called Evergreen College, and when they wanted all the white professors off campus, he's like, no. He's super progressive. But he's come up with something that I find to be absolutely interesting. And I'm like, sign me up. Sign me up for this.
We draft two individuals. We find two people. One of them is center left and one of them is center right. And these people have to have certain characteristics, a minimum set. They have to be patriotic, they have to be courageous, and they have to be highly capable, right? But that's it.
Okay.
Center left and a center right. And we pair them together.
So you got center left, center right. I love that. I've said, people say, well, if you were president, what would you do? I said, well, the first thing I'd do is I'd have people who were differing in opinions politically in my cabinet. I want to hear from all sides. But I want all sides to know that you're not going to get utopia. The problem is everybody says, well, I'm going to govern for everybody, even those who didn't vote for me. And then you go out and you don't do any of that stuff. And in some cases, you think, well, I got a mandate. I can do whatever the hell I want. Again, it's not utopia. And that's part of the problem is when you don't have people that are representing both sides, it's a fight to get anything done even more than you would have if you had people representing both sides. But it'd be less of a fight.
We draft them with the following plan, that they will govern as a team. That is to say, every important decision will be discussed and they will decide what to do as a team. And only in cases where they cannot reach agreement or whenever something has to be decided on a very short time scale, like a military decision, does the person who inhabits the role of the president govern alone. Okay?
All right. So you got center left, center right. As a team, one will be president, one will be vice president. Every 4 years they would switch. One would run as president, one would run as vice president. That way, if there is a war situation, you've got to declare it, do those kind of things before you go to Congress or a military strike. That's on you. I like it. He threw out Yang and Admiral Mcraven. One center right, everybody respects. One center left, everybody likes his ideas. Not going to happen. I like it. I do. We talk about we want diversity in this country, but the first thing we do is we kill anybody who has a different thought. And I don't mean literally kill them. I mean, we just kill their thought process. It's nowadays, it's either my way or the highway, and that goes on both sides. And that doesn't move anything forward. Nobody has a monopoly on good ideas or bad ideas. It's time that we start thinking about different ideas that may be better. But it's not my idea. I know. It's not mine either. But I can get behind it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. Text the program as well. Car Shield. Thank God for Car Shield. My car's going to get fixed today. It's electronics. They're like, we got you. We got you. Right on. I'm loving it. Car Shield's amazing. They get plans starting as low as $99 a month. You call Car Shield, 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. When you do, you save 10%. And you tell them exactly what you're looking for. Say, hey, look, I'm worried about the electronics in my car. Not so much the engine. Maybe you're worried about the transmission and the engine because you don't have any electronics. Either way, they've got a plan that fits your budget that's right for you and your needs. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while the car's in said shop. You choose the shop. You pay a small deductible. They get them paid. It's great. Find out what you can do and what kind of plan you can get by calling Car Shield at 800-CAR-6000, 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson to save 10%, or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
It's not a hoax. This photo is the first real proof that the buried treasure chest unearthed after a 10-year search is the real deal. Photo of the chest taken not long after it was discovered, writes art dealer Forrest Fenn, who buried the chest somewhere in the Rockies in 2010. The photo shows a chest filled with coins and what looks like gold nuggets. Fenn published the photos to refute allegations on social media that the buried treasure never existed.
Yeah, so he buried it. A lot of people look for it. Some people quit their jobs. Probably weren't good jobs, but they quit their jobs, decided they were going to be full-time hunters to find his buried treasure. All kinds of goodies in it. Supposedly valued at $1 million. Somebody from the East Coast of America found it. Probably a dad and his kids just stumbled onto it and like, oh my God, check it out. Well, other people were looking for it in earnest based off a poem that he had written. Now what's it worth?
We asked Dr. Lori Verderame, a prominent appraiser, for her opinion as to its value, which Fenn maintains is about $2 million. This coin, for example, is known as the Ship of Gold coin and dates from the year 1857.
That particular coin is a coin which has a market value just about $15,000 for one coin. That particular box dates to anywhere between 1200 and 1500 AD. The box alone is worth about $15,000.
Total value of the treasure?
I would say you're easily at $1 million.
Yeah, they think it might be worth more. Good. Person wants to remain honest. No problem with that. But it wasn't a hoax. Zero hoax going on there. Over the weekend, somebody spent $6 million to buy Kurt Cobain's MTV Unplugged guitar. Producer Phil, do you think it's a bit much for a guitar? $6 million?
I'm not a fan of Martin's. I don't think it's a great guitar anyway.
Yeah, see. I don't know. $6 million feels like a lot. Like if it's the first Fender, right? If it's like one of those, like you're buying a Shelby Cobra and it's the first one, you're like, all right, that's different. $6 million? People got money for it. Speaking of houses and stuff and junk, imagine doing this.
So here's the plan. I'm trading a bobby pin up until I get a house. In 2006, someone traded a red paperclip up until they got a house. So let's do it. So I started with this paperclip and earlier traded it for a pair of earrings to a girl on Facebook. Then traded those earrings for 4 margarita glasses. I found a girl on Facebook who wanted the margarita glasses. So I traded those for a Bissell vacuum cleaner. I drove 30 minutes and met a guy in a parking lot to trade the vacuum for this really nice snowboard. In just 4 trades, I've gone from a bobby pin to a snowboard.
By the way, just to let you know, usually when you hear that phrase, I met a guy in a parking lot, it doesn't end well. This did, though.
The snowboard was valued at around $95, and the new item was valued at more than double, at around $200, giving me a barely used Apple TV 4K. And as of this week, I've made my 2 biggest trades yet, trading the Apple TV for a pair of Bose noise-canceling wireless headphones. After getting the headphones, I then traded those headphones for a new Xbox One with 2 controllers, 2 games, and a Kinect sensor bar. These trades are just getting crazier and crazier.
I knew somebody once who traded dollars for a house. By the way, at this point in time, you've got enough to buy probably a whole city block in Detroit.
So far, I've made 6 trades to get myself an Xbox One, but I'm not stopping there. After finding this guy who really wanted the Xbox, I traded him in the parking lot of a Safeway for, I'm not kidding you, a MacBook Pro. I've got some pretty wild offers coming up, so shoot me a follow and let's get this house.
Yeah, shoot me a follow. Let's get this house. Let's get this thing did. Let's get it did. Chad's not very nice about Detroit. Detroit's giving stuff away. There's a lot of dilapidated. People moved out. There was a huge fleeing of people from Detroit. They're like, we're out. So they're giving it away. Not that you maybe want to live there. But if you're, have you put a price on the house? Are you looking for, can it be an RV? Can it be a trailer? A double wide? Maybe a modular home? A small house? You didn't really tell us what you were looking for. People are willing to do it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter, your Instagram. Check out the Chad Benson Show, Facebook as well. Soon to be the YouTube. What? Yeah, we're doing it all, kids. That's how we roll. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The message is being delivered right now in Capitol Hill is it's time for people to go home.
Oh, Jenny Durkin, now it's time for people to go home? Now it is? You've allowed people to turn the Capitol Hill area in Seattle to the autonomous zone or the organized protest, depending on which side you want to be on, CHOP or CHAZ? Maybe CHAZ is identifying as CHOP. I don't know. Why is it time for people to go home? It looks like you're doing a hell of a job there. Police aren't there. Now there's a private security team. This is what we've gotten to. You can hire. By the way, who do you think's going to be a little tougher? Your police department that fled and allowed you to take over several blocks in Seattle, or the private security team that's rolling on in with probably less rules, why would they close this down? Everybody's just having a good time.
I'm keeping covered up. It's getting too much liquor in the system right now, I think. They partied way too hard. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and now emotions are running high. I mean, there's people scattering now. I don't know what's going on. What's happening?
Oh, man. There was a shooting? No, not in the CHOP. It's peaceful. Love. It's not. It's a joke, is what it is. It's a joke. Remember what Trump said.
Seattle's big stuff. That's a major city. And we have a governor who's a stiff, and we have a mayor who said, this is going to be a love fest. And by the way, these are violent people that took it over.
No, it's not. Well, you got one dead, one injured, one in critical condition. You've had all kinds of issues there. What's the biggest issue? A bunch of kids who've not grown up and don't want to grow up, who've hijacked the message, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's George Floyd, they're just hijacking a message, and they're chilling and partying and not growing up. Their protest is against responsibility in adulthood. That's the reality of that. How are we going to get them out? Mayor Durkin, should we send in, I don't know, should we send in the police?
It would not be an effective strategy to simply send police in to try to clear the area. And so instead what we're doing is we're working with Black-led organizations and some of our partners in de-escalation.
Black Lives Matter's not thrilled by this either because they feel like it's been hijacked. The message is being hijacked by a bunch of white suburban kids who want to make it about themselves. Mom and dad have fought every battle for him, told him that 2 + 2 is an apple, and it's totally fine if you believe it to be so. That every painting goes on the refrigerator. Every port card is the greatest of all time. Trophies for everything you've ever done. So nobody's feelings are hurt. And then they're pissed at something, and they want to be a helper, and then they take over an area, and then you say it's time to go home, and they're not going home. Well, mom and dad, you need to get down there. That's a you thing. You created this mess. You go clean it up. Little Jenny and Timmy and Tommy and Sally and Sarah and Micah, right? And whoever you want to be called, whatever you want to be called, how you want to be identified, it's up to you. But this is a disaster. This is on you. You've allowed kids to take over the school. That's a you problem. They're running from responsibility and adulthood. It's that simple. Well, we want them to go home. We do. Who do we call? I don't know. You had somebody, and then you neutered them, and then your chief best is like, we should get out of here. And you did. And you gave it up. Now you've got madness. And you've got big companies. Company there, financial company, moving out here to Seattle. Out of Seattle to Arizona. They're like, we're done. We're out. Have a wonderful day. We don't want any part of this anymore. That is on you. Period. Case closed. Why would anybody be there? Why would you stay there? This is the Portland mayor. Portland. Also full of hippies, ne'er-do-wells, anarchists, occupiers who wanted to do the same thing. This is their mayor, Ted Wheeler, in Portland.
I'm out here this morning because there were a lot of barricades set up. There is a lot of trash and litter and detritus left from last night's demonstrations, and this is where I'm living. These are my neighbors, and I'm out here helping to pick up the mess.
Would you ever let an autonomous zone be set up here in Portland?
I do not want an autonomous zone set up in Portland. I'm watching what's going on in Seattle, and I'm not impressed. It's a distraction from the larger movement, justice for black people.
He's right. Of course it is. Of course it is. It's absolutely a distraction. You're allowing people to run around and be idiotic and escape responsibility in adulthood, pissed off at the world for whatever reason, most of them probably having some form of education in the higher education world, who believe that America's bad, responsibility's bad, peace and love is okay, responsibility's bad, peace and love is all we need, responsibility's bad, growing up's bad, bills are bad, everything should be free. Mom and dad, you want to get them out of there? Cut their phone off. What? Yeah, cut their phone off. See what happens then. You don't have to do it citywide. Just mom and dad cut their phone off. You're paying the bill. You're paying the bill. And I just want to know what it is that you guys want, because every time I hear something from CHOP or CHAZ or any of these other places, I get 20 different answers to what it is you're looking for.
All of these shootings are just ramping up demands to clear out the demonstrators and homeless who are now part of the encampment. When police respond in, they're met by resistance. The mayor says they will be shutting it down. Business owners are saying enough is enough. How it will be cleared out isn't known, with so many people and a chunk of them armed.
But wait, we don't need it. We have hugs. We have hugs and drugs and guns. Enjoy it. If you want to see what it looks like, this is what it looks like. Stop running from responsibility. Grow your ass up. Cut your hair. Get a job. Or don't cut your hair, but get a job. That's it. Just face some responsibility. Stop using other people's platforms for a way for you not have to do anything. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Here's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program. Guess what's happening, kids? You guessed it. You guessed it. Coronavirus.
We are doing more testing, and that's part of the reason. But much of it is because we just have more infections. There's lots of other data we're looking at, including the fact that hospitalization rates are going up. More testing wouldn't explain more hospitalizations.
No, and that's what you have to look at, the hospitalization. So when you look at all this stuff in the state that you're in, you stare at it and you say, what is our hospitalization? So if we got 500 beds here, and there's 45 beds that are essentially being used right now by COVID, you're like, okay, that's not horrible. If it's 200 beds, well, maybe you got an issue there. Well, it's 85% full. Well, most of those people are not COVID patients. And I don't care about how many people test positive. I care about the peeling away the layers to find out how many of those people are going to need to seek medical treatment to the point where they're going to be hospitalized and or into the ICU. That is more important. We need to stop focusing on how many positive tests there are. It's how many of them will need to seek treatment. Because if you have 1 million people that test positive, but barely any go to the hospital or seek medical treatment, that's better than having 5,000 that do and half of them go. So those numbers are the things that matter. And they're a little bit easier to unpack than a lot of this other stuff. Who's got antibodies, who's asymptomatic, who is, showing signs of something. Those numbers are, first of all, I don't even know what to believe anymore. Then the question is there going to be another one of those things where they tell everybody go indoors?
That's basically if you wait too long and once your hospitals start getting full, then you don't really have very many choices. So many of us have been calling for weeks to slow things down, to get rid of things like nightclubs and large indoor gatherings, to ask people to wear masks. All of that prevents lockdowns. But if we don't do those things, then yeah, at some point, we're going to find ourselves with no other choice but a lockdown.
But I just don't think you're going to have that again. You're not going to have it. You ever what I hear in any of these things is personal responsibility, which should be foremost the most important thing. Governors should come out and say, here's the deal, guys. I'm going to treat you like an adult. I expect you to act like an adult. Right now, this thing is running rampant. Is it the killer of all killers? No. 99% of the people that catch this aren't going to get sick from it at all. A few may get very sick, and some may die. But we don't have therapeutics like we do for the flu, or we don't have vaccines like we do for the flu. So I expect you guys that while we're going through this, that you guys treat each other with respect. You listen to what the professionals are saying. And even though they're confusing, Just better be safe than sorry. But I'm going to treat you like an adult until I can no longer do that because you act like a child. I think most people go, okay, cool. But instead, we get these wishy-washy things from governors, these like half-ass ultimatums. We're going to do this, and then you don't do it, and you're like, whatever. They're not going to do anything. Stay out of big crowds, at least at this moment. Wear your mask when the stores ask you to wear a mask. Well, that's unconstitutional. Shut up. You don't say that about shirts and shoes and pants. Well, that's where we are. My work here, they ask you, wear a mask when you're wandering around inside of the building. Like if you're going from the studio to the bathroom really quick, no. But if you're going and you're walking around and you're talking, if you just wear a mask. I respect the rules. It's got zero problems with that. It's private business. They do what they want. They want me to do that? I'll do that. This is where we are, though. Want to be an adult? Act like an adult? Take some personal responsibility. It's going to help everybody. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter, feel free to tweet at me. It's all over the place. What? The economy. What are you doing to protect yourself? Valor Gold Group. That's what. U.S. debt is massive. The dollar about ready to get thumped. It's time to really look around and say, how do I diversify my portfolio to protect it, but also to grow it? That's where Valor comes in. 800-202-6936. Call Valor today. Find out what they're doing. They have time-tested, proven strategy to help protect against the crash and inflation, because the opportunities that are coming right now, people are buying gold left, right, and center. The marketplace is ready to take off, and the dollar's going to struggle. You need to be positioned in such a way that you protect the downside. Gold and silver also qualified to be added to your IRA. Call them today, 800-202-6936, and reserve your free exclusive copy of the #1 way to protect your wealth. Call Valor Gold today. Valor Gold Group, 800-202-6936. Avoid the pitfalls of the coming crash of the U.S. dollar. 800-202-6936, or visit valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. That's valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. Protect your wealth and your retirement today. valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
A lot of viewers in Florida, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan who are still struggling economically, sir. They spent all of that first stimulus check. Are you going to get them a second stimulus check?
Yeah, we are. We are. Look, we had this.
When? When are you going to get it?
We will be doing another stimulus package. It'll be very good. It'll be very generous. And
how much? How much? How much? People want to know.
You'll find out about it.
When are you going to announce it?
I think over the next. I think it's going to be bipartisan. I think it's going to be over the next couple of weeks.
Was it me or was that guy? How much? When? How? How much? Who's going to do it? Who's signing the check? You going to send a picture? What are your name? Oh, my God. I'm going to answer for you. Don't worry about it. Very excited. Let's listen to that again. Listen how excited he is.
A lot of viewers in Florida, Ohio, Wisconsin,
guy
Michigan
with voice,
who are
guy.
still struggling economically, sir. They spent all of that first stimulus check. Are you going to get them a second stimulus check?
Yeah, we are. We are. Look, we had this.
When? I want a time zone. When? I want a time. I want to know when it's coming. Tell me now.
Are you going to get it?
We will be doing another stimulus package. It'll be very good. It'll be very generous. And
how much? How much?
How much? How much? How much? How much? How much? How much?
How much? People want to know.
You'll find out about it.
So there you go. Hit him hard, Jimmy. Oh, my God. How much? How much? When? Now? Now? Today? Today? Right now? Now? How about now? How about now? What do you have in your pocket? How much money? Want to give it to me? Want to give it to me? Watching a little bit of stuff over the weekend, mostly just Netflix and, a lot of YouTube, and I was doing some video editing and checking things out like that. But I just watching the way that the news. Like, I flip through and I'm like, all right, so I'll try MSNBC for a while just to see yesterday. I was like, all right, so there's just usual chaos. And CNN's just dumpster fire. And Fox is, Then you got One American News and Newsmax. And they're just like, oh, God, it's the best. Just like, this is what we got. This is how you do it now. You find the niche market. And we've created that because you don't need a lot to make a lot and to be successful. You found a niche marketplace and you serve that market, whether it's news or politics or pop culture. You find that little bit of market. You serve the hell out of it. You give them exactly what they want, not what you want to give them, what they want to see. That's the world that we live in now. That's where advertising is going. That's where it's all at. Give them what they want. And that's what's happening. So One American News and Newsmax and Fox give the people on the right exactly what they're looking for. And the people on the left go to the New York Times, Huffington Post, the LA Times, CNN, and MSNBC, and they get exactly what they want. Nobody, though, is giving you, like, all of it. They're just giving you what you want to hear. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
This country was built on a system of oppression and systemic racism, white supremacy. So in order to tear down all of that, you have to uproot a lot of what is this country's foundation. That is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. The ways in which so many of us are uncomfortable every single day. I say all the time, I refuse to be uncomfortable any longer so that you can be comfortable. What that probably means is that as a collective, we have to work towards making each other uncomfortable, stretching each other out of our comfort zones so that the right thing can be done.
Here's the problem. That's Angela Rye, former executive director of the National Black Caucus. Is people aren't interested in different points of views. The movement you're seeing now is about getting people to bow down. The movement you're seeing now is about control and power. White people have had the power forever and a day. I'm not going to apologize. I'm just being honest here. This isn't about, it's not about George Floyd. It's not about Black Lives Matter. It's about getting people to bow down. It's the Chairman Mao. Hey, it's a great leap forward. Everybody grab your red book. Here we go. That's what it's about. Uncomfortable, she's right. Because we're going to have to talk about things that are uncomfortable. Talk about race. We have to talk about class. We're talking a lot of different things. And it's going to make some people uncomfortable. And that's okay, because usually when you're stepping out into an uncomfortable situation, on the other side of that, you'll be better for it. But they're not interested in the conversation. These CHOP and CHAZ and a lot of these, there are people that are interested in it. The problem, like the exhausted majority with all of us, is we don't have the bully pulpit. We don't have the megaphone, and we need to go get it. Because both sides of extreme lunacy have been running this thing for way too long. I want to have a conversation, and I'm okay with it. Could be uncomfortable. I'm fine with that. Got to stop letting everything be personal. Too often we make it about us. There's a new poll out. America's never been in a worse situation in the history of America, according to a new poll. 700 trillion people. 73% of people in America say it's the worst time in the history of time. Shut up. You're an idiot if you think that. Tough time? Yeah. It's also the best time. But yeah, there's some tough things going on. COVID, right? Take away, even if we were in a situation where we're not talking about George Floyd or Black Lives Matter, we've even progressed even further, COVID would still be a kick in the grundle. So let's not pretend. At the same time, we've had a civil war. A country ripped in two by something we should be ashamed of, which is slavery. So we've had a country ripped in two. We've had brothers fighting brothers, sons fighting fathers, and it was awful. We've had an epidemic before this, coronavirus, that killed a lot of people. We've had World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and Korea. We've had a Cold War. We've had massive depressions and recessions. Still, the best time to be alive is right now. This is a moment in time. I do not think a year from now we're going to be going, wow, we're still in the middle of all this. It's never going away. We're all going to have to live indoors and deal with 50% unemployment. It's not going to happen. It's not. We'll get past this. When it comes to race and the relationship with us as a country, we need to have a conversation that's real. But we have to be, we can't be personal. What people are going to be saying and talking, it should be a conversation. Am I right? And we have to be open to other people's ideas. Diversity doesn't start with the color of your skin, who you love, who you worship. It starts in the mind. And we have forgot about that because we're so busy identifying everything that we forget that so many people out there don't want you to have a differing point of view, because if you do, you, for some reason, hate them, which is stupid. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Coronavirus not gone anywhere. Still right here. Still hanging out. What's it do to your brain?
For patients who have had more mild illness, cognitive effects, we're starting to see these neurologic sequelae, as we call them, and really do not understand what is contributing to it.
Some people having issues? Yeah. It's coronavirus. It's novel. That's why they call it a novel virus. We never seen anything like this. We have the coronavirus been around since, the 50s or 60s? If you've had a cold in your life, you probably had one form of coronavirus. This is different. They're learning from it every day. It's causing some issues. We know that. In some patients. Remember, the news is covering what? If it bleeds, it leads. They want you to listen to what they have to say, and they're going to do that because we're into doom scrolling, which is you're looking for. It's like WebMD. You go to WebMD, what do? Oh, my knee hurts. You start looking at it. Next thing you know, you're going down the rabbit hole, and you're looking at all the worst case scenarios. Oh, maybe it's because I bumped it on a chair. Nope, it can't be that. It's got to be cancer. Like, what? How'd you get to that? So we're into that. So we want to know, because everybody who thinks that they're going to get it thinks that, okay, you get it, and then the next day we have to put you on a ventilator and you read your last rites. So that's an issue. The majority of people that catch this are going to be fine. A majority of the majority of the majority of the people that catch this won't even know they had it. But there are vulnerable populations, and every once in a while, somebody who's absolutely healthy will get this, and they'll die from it. They will. And every once in a while, somebody who's very vulnerable, overweight, COPD, diabetes, 75, they'll have had it, and it'll have gone away, and it won't affect them at all. This is a moment in time we're living through, and it does suck, but it doesn't suck like a lot of people want you to believe. It's motives for that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Bubba Watson.
All of NASCAR's drivers have rallied around Bubba Wallace after what happened here yesterday afternoon. A noose was found hanging in the garage stall of Bubba's race car. In the NASCAR Cup garage area, a secure area where access is limited to competitors, officials, and track staff. A despicable act by someone flying directly in the face of NASCAR's efforts to build a culture that is diverse, equal, and welcome.
Yeah, I said Bubba Watson. Bubba Wallace. Bubba Watson's a golfer. I see a lot of pushback on this today. How did that happen? How did a noose get into the garage? We're going to find out. Department of Justice, the FBI is looking into it. Bubba Wallace is black. Well, he's half black, half white. Whatever. Just get over it. How did a noose get there? I've seen some people say it's got to be an inside job. Is it possible? Of course it is. Listen, and it has zero to do with what's going on right now. The fact is we've been jaded before. We've been jaded because of we've been fooled before, so we're jaded now. Jesse Smollett. Smollett, remember that? Those two guys beat him up wearing a MAGA hat. All I hear is Dave Chappelle in that. Sounds like something I'd say. And several others on campuses. Right, where people are just so pissed off and they want their activism to be a certain way, so they do something stupid. Is this one of those? I think we're going to find out sooner rather than later. Do I think he's lying? I don't think he's lying. I don't. But people are asking the question. I understand that. But there's cameras everywhere. I thought it was really a good look yesterday when all of the race car drivers, all of their pit crew were following him. And I just thought, showing their support, I thought that was a solid thing.
Bubba, I don't know if you can hear me, but what a day. NASCAR rallies around you. You got fans in the stands.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
How do you describe just today, this moment?
This is probably the most badass moment right here. It's been tough. It's been hell. Really, I wouldn't say hell. It's just been hectic, carrying this weight and carrying this burden. I wouldn't really say burden either. I'm proud to stand where I'm at. And board is changing. Sorry I'm not wearing my mask, but I wanted to show whoever it was that you're not going to take away my smile.
Bubba's got the look. He's got the attitude. Right? There's always something about that. So, you go back and to lead a charge, especially in a sport like NASCAR, let's be real, not the most diverse. Like hockey's more diverse. Pro golf is more diverse than NASCAR. He's got kind of that thing, that equality. You go back and you look at when Jackie Robinson broke through the color barrier. There was a reason they chose Jackie. And not Josh Gibson, and not Satchel Paige. Because they wanted somebody who was going to, be that person that was going to carry the mantle. You go back and look at Rosa Parks. And Colvin, the girl that was before Rosa. But they thought, she's, we can't have her because she's 15, she's pregnant with another man's baby, and she's a little, as they would say, fresh as far as her mouth, a little sassy. And people are like, Bubba's got it all. You know what Bubba's got? Bubba's out there busting his ass. Bubba's got talent. Bubba's savvy when it comes to what's going on in the world of the interwebs. And I think that, there's a lot of people looking around going, well, this is what NASCAR is going to become? So a lot of things are going to become. Just deal with it. And let's be real. NASCAR I'm a Formula One guy. By the way, who's the best Formula One driver? Lewis Hamilton. Probably. I mean, he's got a few guys that are on his, Sebastian Vettel and a few other ones. But, yeah, definitely. And he's black. Oh, yeah. But I'm definitely a Formula One guy. Formula One's awesome. I'll watch Formula One. I don't do NASCAR. I do Formula One, though. Producer Phil, you like Formula One, too. Have you ever been to Formula One?
I have never been to a Formula One race, but I'd love to go.
Oh, it's just so much cooler. Open wheels, okay, in a kart, but Formula One is just awesome.
Grand Prix.
It is. It's just you go, and it's just like everything, like you go to like NASCAR, and it's kind of like it's like a cookout, people are tailgating, and it's a big party, and it's the river. It's like the river. It's like spring break. Kart is kind of like middle class, but then you go to Formula One, you're like, whoa, this is different. Like this is the beautiful people. I'm definitely a Formula One fan. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. Gabby is going to take that headache away of shopping for homeowners and car insurance by giving you an apples-to-apples comparison in about 2 minutes on your homeowners and car insurance. All you do is plug your information in, and for the exact same coverage, they're going to give you the price that you should be paying. Maybe you're paying the exact price you should be, or maybe you're paying way too much. For me, car insurance, way too much. Homeowners insurance, spot on. Takes 2 minutes. You go to Gabby.com/Benson. They're going to give you 40 of the best, biggest insurers, Travelers, Nationwide, just to name a few. It's absolutely free. It's not going to cost you a penny. You just plug in your information and away it goes. Try it now. Average Gabby customer saves $825. GABI.com/Benson. Find out how much you should be or really are overpaying for your homeowners and car insurance. They're never going to spam you. They're never going to robocall you. Go to Gabby.com/Benson, GABI.com/Benson, Gabby.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
No need to fear. We promise we won't give you a noogie and make you cry Russia, Russia, Russia.
Who is the fearless leader?
Fui.
Fui, and double fui.
What is your language? This is a family show, remember?
Fui to families too.
Nostrovia. This is Chad Benson.
All right. We're just talking about Formula One and NASCAR. Already getting people going, man, why do you like NASCAR? I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said if I had to choose. I don't really watch much in the motorsports world, mostly because the Grand Prix is all over, so you have to get up like 2 a.m. to watch it. So it kind of counts me out. But there is one here, October 20th, October 2020 this year, 25th. It's going to be in Austin. But the following year, it's going to be at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, which would be kind of cool. Speaking of Miami, we've got the 3 debate schedule, the schedule, if you will. 3 debates. Trump wanted more. September 29th, Indy. October 15th, Miami. A week later, 22nd, Nashville. Those are going to be your 3 dates for the battle that will be, who knows? I mean, you don't know what's going to happen between now and September. It could be a disaster. It could be 10 times worse with COVID-19. COVID-19 could have semi-cleared up. The economy could be moving in a different direction. And you might be looking, but don't know. What you do know is there's going to be 3 debates. People are like, why don't they just do it from their houses? Do you really want to see Joe Biden spend 2 hours trying to figure out where the camera is? I don't. Do I want to see Trump like that for 2 hours? No. Put him on stage, let him duke it out, and we'll move on with our lives. You'll make your decision. Most of you already have. But there's a lot of people in the middle who are frustrated with Trump, but still may vote for him. And there's a lot of people out there that are frustrated with Trump, like his actions, but the chaos and the craziness at this point in time is just too much. We'll find out. Still a long way to go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program. Solid fun show today, kids. We had a good time. Like doing these things. Let's do it again tomorrow. Have yourself a wunderbar rest of your day. We will do it again tomorrow. Go have yourself some tacos. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.